Welcome back to Called to Community, the life Jesus wants for his people. We're on chapter 41, at
42,
table.
actually.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Chapter 42, at table. Really a great, thought-provoking chapter with two selections, one by the Brazilian Catholic priest, liberation theologian Leonardo Boff, and the other by Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I think it in some ways is cliche to talk about the importance of gathering for a meal, either as a family or as a community. But maybe it's cliche because it is so important, and it's actually really great to think about what the importance of gathering around a table is.
Yeah, because as was pointed out in this chapter, Leonardo Boff is concerned that that is being lost, and he notes that table fellowship is actually crucial and at the core of human existence. If you look at what ethnobiologists and archaeologists have discovered about our ancient ancestors, they hunted and gathered fruits and nuts and berries and all the food that they could find, and then brought it back to their tribe or everyone else that existed with them to share it with them. So even just at a purely scientific level, it's important. It can't just be seen as nutrition because that's what makes us human. And then Dietrich Bonhoeffer, he goes further and brings the biblical significance to that, but then also how it is a ritual of joy and also an opportunity to rejoice in the good things that we've been given. And that's a really important part of it too, celebration.
Yeah.
And then also how that connects to the story, the miraculous feeding on the Sermon on the Mount, with the 5,000 people being fed by 2 loaves of bread or 5 loaves of bread and 2 small fish. And how Bonhoeffer points out how if we just eat for ourselves, or, that's when starvation happens, and when we share, no one ever goes hungry. It's a pretty cool thought.
I've recently seen quite a few ads for this product called Huel. Have you seen that?
No. Educate me.
Huel is human fuel. And basically it's everything you need
Does not sound cool.
everything you need in a drink.
Okay.
And the idea is but it approaches nutrition, and even if you don't eat or consume Huel, I think it's easy to approach eating as fueling ourselves up, right?
Yeah.
Just fueling our bodies like we would fuel up a car. And that's kind of at odds with I think the Christian view of what food is for. The common table that Jesus called his followers to, the way he imagined the banquet in the kingdom of heaven, the wedding feast. These are all, there's something more than just a materialist thing going on there.
Yeah.
There's a spiritual component to it that then we are also recognize that it's God who's created the food that we eat.
Right.
And so we need to have the appropriate respect and appreciation for it. So down with Huel.
Yeah.
Another really important component of the table fellowship that I hadn't thought about, but which I think Dietrich Bonhoeffer points out, that we, in the Lord's Prayer, we thank God for our daily bread, not my daily bread. And how important it is when you are sharing a meal, instead of eating alone or even just in a small group, everyone is fed. And it reminded me of Paul's admonition in 1 Corinthians 11 to the church, where apparently the rich people were getting together in their own houses. And the rich people in the church were getting together in their own houses and having a great, great time, good food. And then the poor in the congregation were going hungry. And this would have been avoided if they would have all come to the table together. There wouldn't have been that injustice and that inequality. So here on the Bruderhof, we do gather every day, almost every day,
Yeah.
for a meal. We might miss 1 or 2 a week. And the whole community gets together, all the kids, obviously not the smallest kids, and we'll share a time of fellowship as we have our meal. And it's an opportunity for either a guest to speak to us, about an important, about something that concerns them, or an opportunity to listen to a story or a reading, something that brings us together and we can experience together. And yeah, I will say at times it can feel inconvenient, especially if you're a little busy, to like stop for whatever it is, 45 minutes. But
yeah, and the time frame is not really up to the individual then, because you're at the mercy of whatever's going on. Yeah.
So you can maybe think about skipping it from time to time, but I would just say, having read this chapter, it does give me a new appreciation for that practice.
And I would say in community, there's also a richness, a variety of table fellowship that's available. It's like you were mentioning, the communal meals that we have and share together. And I'm thinking of the prayer said at the beginning. It's often just to thank God and thank the cooks. And that's also something that's pointed out in this chapter, how, that brings people together. But then also how eating, table fellowship and eating together is also a place where tensions and conflicts can be resolved, or difficult conversations. And I can certainly think of examples of that here, where we invite people with different political or world views to have a dialogue, a conversation about whatever it is. And then also here in community, we have the opportunity to invite each other to our homes, like anywhere else, of course, but we have the option on the weekend to reach out to guests or families from other communities or from farther afield, and to have that opportunity to have table fellowship is really important, and this chapter does bring that to us more strongly, so I appreciated that.
Yeah, definitely interested in what you all have to think about it, but let's think about how we can make table fellowship just more normative and not just something for special occasions. All right, see you next week.